There are so many fun patterns in the ScanNCut SDX230Di machine. Today we're going to be using one of the Frozen inspired patterns, and this is a layered design. And what that means is we can layer different materials, different colors, anything we would like to create virtually any project that you would like. In this example, we're going to be using paper, fabric, and assorted vinyls to create a canvas piece that will hang on the wall. To get started, you're going to need your pattern. It's over here under Elsa's head. You will find snowflakes and also some really awesome designs that could be used for applique, for sewing and quilting, for all kinds of different things. You could use these with different materials onto a tote bag, onto clothing. The options here really are limitless. Now, when we go and pick a pattern that is layered, you are going to see all of these different pieces. And when you click on them, they will show you, here's the piece, here's how it lays. And there is a color suggestion there, but you can make this any color you would like. I am going to stick to the Frozen colors, adjusting a little bit. And right now, what I'm really looking at and thinking about is really, what pieces do I have? What designs, what colors, what materials that will work well? I also want to think about practical things like if I'm using heat transfer vinyl, I would want those to be early layers, probably a little easier. Or if I have fabric, do I want it to be adhesive backed, and so on and so forth. So we're going to pick a material and pick our layers one at a time because of the size. I'm making this a full 12-inch canvas. And one at a time, we're going to pick the materials. In this case, it's a heat transfer vinyl, so I used the half cut function. And now I am weeding or removing all of the material that isn't our transferred pattern from around this. And then I'm going to repeat, select the next part. This is going to save the exact sizes and dimensions that we want for our project automatically. So I'm going to pick then the star, and I'm going to keep working my way from large to small here. So you're going to pick whatever size it is. And remember, you can always click the button that shows all the layers together. If ever you get confused, or if ever you think, wait a minute, where was this one in relation to the other ones? You can always do that. And it's automatically going to select the size that you need to cut this out at. You're just going to go ahead and select cut. And while it is vinyl, we want the half cut on. When it's other materials, we do not want that. We'll turn that back to full cut. And that's just so the auto blade will cut things out. Now, I am pausing here to take a look at the layers that I have and see what I like, see what I think. Remember, if we needed to change colors, if we needed something different, we can. And also note that the pieces, like those little diamonds, they get cut out in the shaping they need to be to work on the layered pattern. And all of the ScanNCut layered patterns work this way. So they are going to cut out so that you can just lay that entire piece right onto your project and it will fit beautifully. Now I'm also going to cut out some fabric. I mentioned the fabric, I like to put some iron-on backing, so something that will fix the fabric to the material so I don't have to rely on liquid glue. And here you can see I'm layering up my different pieces. I've got my fabric, I've got my paper, I've got my vinyl, all kinds of different materials. Take a look at it. Do I like the colors? Do I like the contrast? If the answer is yes, start at the bottom. Start at the bottom and work up. Now, with the heat transfer vinyl, this is a little tricky, I will admit, because we are working on canvas. Now, unlike normal, the way I'm going to handle this is I actually have a large enough canvas. I am going to heat it from the underside. And I'm going to be very careful with this. And what you won't see here in the video, but what is happening in real life, I will be often checking my iron, checking the material, making sure that everything is good. And I am also, you'll notice over here on the side, it's slightly going over the edge. I am going to offset this. And just slightly, I want it slightly off center. Now you can also, you see what I'm doing here where I am pressing the iron. Normally, we do not want to do that. Normally we want a cloth, and we're very, very careful with this material, with this iron, and then also with that glitter vinyl that I'm using. It really is hardy, and so I know that by putting my iron on there, number one, I'm not going to harm anything as long as I am careful, and number two, by pressing a little bit that I did and then flipping it over, what really ends up happening is it really just helps me make sure that everything stays put. And you see what I'm doing here? I am placing a piece of transfer material over my fabric and my vinyls. That's going to protect all the layers. So if you want to protect, yes, put a piece of fabric down in between. I was not having, it was not getting hot enough to transfer in that way, and that is why I did not use it. But use the tools that you have and just use caution. It's always better to go a little slower and then add. Now what you see me doing, I've got all my layers down. I just glued the paper layers after all of the heat transfer and iron-on layers. Now I'm using a pen here, and this is just an alcohol marker, and I'm adding some details, and I'm adding some other little fun stuff, like taking some spray, and I just kind of a spray color. I took the top off so that I could flick and have a little more control. I'm also taking some rhinestones and liquid adhesive and accenting with rhinestones. You could add stitching, you could add glitter glue, you could add buttons, you could add whatever embellishments your heart desires here to really bring your work of art to life. Once you are done, all that's left to do is hang it on the wall, put it on a shelf, and enjoy. This project was so much fun to make, and there are so many designs in this machine to explore and get creative with mixing mediums, getting crafty, and having a good time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Brother channel so you don't miss any future tutorials. See you next time.